Hello and welcome to another segment of Interviews That Matter. I'm your host Raj Mehta. Friends, in this segment we bring those guests who influence our lives. This includes elected officials, policymakers, heads of major organizations and other dignitaries. It is my sincere hope that the knowledge brought in by these guests will help our community. Today we have such guest. Her name is Swamini Vimalananda. Swamiji, Namaskar and welcome to the show. I'm so honored, actually I'm very honored to have you here on the show. And
I'm feeling good as well.
And we definitely hope that at the end of the show, we definitely will learn a lot from you. And that's the purpose of the show.
Yes.
So, before we begin, we want to talk about you first before we jump into different subjects and spirituality and all that. So let's talk about you. How did you decide to become a Swamiji, or when did you decide to become a Swamiji?
It is said in our culture that you should not ask the source of a river and a Swami. So we'll keep that to the minimum and we'll talk about the rest of the things that you want to ask me.
Okay.
So, in simple words, I was born and brought up in Mumbai.
Mm-hmm.
I studied architecture,
Mm-hmm.
graduated from the JG College of Architecture,
Mm-hmm.
joined the ashram,
Mm-hmm.
inspired by my guru, Puja Gurudev Swami Chinmaya ji.
Mm-hmm.
And after that,
Mm-hmm.
decided to be part of the Chinmaya mission,
Mm-hmm.
which is my guru's organization,
Mm-hmm.
and serve.
Mm-hmm.
I guess that summarizes.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that's a good answer that you gave. I mean, we didn't get this kind of answer from anybody. That like comparing with river.
Yeah.
And Swamiji doesn't have a past, I guess.
Yeah. No, they
You
have
don't talk
past,
about
but
the
it's
past.
not talk about.
You don't talk about the
Yeah.
past.
Because officially, when you become a Swami,
Right.
you actually do your death ceremony. You're over as an entity which was there before.
Hmm.
So you're given a new name and your life starts as a Swami from the day you get sannyas.
Hmm.
So whatever happened before is immaterial, actually speaking.
So your real life starts from the day you become Swamiji.
Yes.
And then after that is your just kind of
Yeah, you serve.
so
you
we.
attain, you walk towards your goal.
Mm-hmm. And what is your goal?
Actually speaking, my goal is what everyone else's goal is.
Mm-hmm.
Strangely, people would think that, come on, I don't have a Swami's goal. But the fact is that they actually want what I want. And everyone else wants, including you.
Mm-hmm.
All of us want to be happy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Unconditionally so.
Mm-hmm.
Morning to night, birth to death.
Mm-hmm.
Not little happiness,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of happiness.
Mhm.
In fact, no limit to our happiness.
Mhm.
That's exactly my goal. And that, in spiritual language, is called moksha or liberation.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I guess my goal is what everyone else's goal is.
So there are many ways to be happy.
Yeah.
Like for example, the way you chose to be happy is by spirituality. You became spiritual, became Swamiji. That's your happiness. My happiness, as I say that, I'm happy.
I'm sure.
I have
You
a
look
good,
happy.
I have a good house.
Mhm.
I have a good business.
Good.
I have a good family.
Fantastic.
I feed them, everybody well, no problems.
Yes.
And I'm happy.
Good.
So why do I learn about spirituality, and why do I want to be spiritual?
Perfect. You're happy, and you're happy today,
Mm-hmm.
and I hope you're happy all your life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. However, there is sometimes a tinge of worry, sometimes a little fear, sometimes you're a little hoping that what you got right now will not go away. Sometimes you feel you miss things in life. Sometimes you wish that you had something else as well. So all these are so-called limitations in the happiness that we seek in the world outside, because the world outside by its very nature is transient. And therefore, we all basically seek to have a happiness which is eternal, which doesn't end. That's why this happy ever after is a fantastic concept that all of us seek.
Right.
So that's the happiness that I'm after.
So not a moment happiness, or not a day happiness, or not a month happiness, but you're talking about the happiness forever. And that's what, the path of spirituality can achieve or will achieve.
Absolutely.
Is that how it is?
Yes.
Um,
Got it right.
Okay, so tell us that, how can we achieve that?
Okay. You go to sleep every night. And you go into a state which is called deep sleep state.
Right.
Yeah. And if you didn't have that state for 5 days in a row, you'd go crazy.
Yes, true.
And when you are in that state, you actually have no house, you have no family
Right.
in that state.
Right.
No experience of a house, a family,
Right.
anything that you named right now.
Right. Right.
And you're still happy.
Yep.
Interesting.
Yep.
Because we think X, Y, Z makes me happy.
Right.
And you have none of it. And you're still happy. And you don't even know when the time passes. In your deep sleep, you can't say, I slept for this much time in the deep sleep. When you wake up, your watch will tell you that this much.
Right.
But that time there was nothing. There was no world. There was nothing. And yet you were happy. And you can't say, today's deep sleep I was happy and tomorrow's deep sleep, yesterday's I was not happy. If it's the deep sleep state, you're happy. There's no world and you're happy. Interesting. So every possible object that you ever thought was giving you happiness was not there, and yet you were happy, and you are happy every day. So you have what is called objectless happiness, and which is unconditional, because there's no condition of anything, time, space, people, nothing.
Right.
Right?
Right.
If I could have this happiness forever, it could be me. We think, and in that deep sleep state, objects are not there, the world is not there, but you are there. The very fact that you say, I woke up, I slept, so I am there. And there's no other object, and this I is there. So who's happy? I is happy, even without these objects. If I can get that happiness, even when I'm in this world with people, that core in me, which is happiness, if I know that, that's it.
So when I am awake, that's when I need this object to be happy.
Exactly. So that's the goal of spirituality, to get that unconditional happiness even as you're awake.
Without objects.
Even with or without objects, then the objects are immaterial. The objects can be there, the objects may not be there, but I am rooted in that happiness. How wonderful would that be?
I mean, I understand what you're saying. What I want to ask you from a common person, like what, like we are basically, we are holding, families, and we have got all the restrictions and all kind of, responsibilities, to earn money for family and children.
Absolutely,
And
no problem.
how one can do this? I mean, do they have to leave the life?
No,
or do
they
have
don't. No, they don't. That's the beauty of it.
How?
You don't. You can still be rooted in this great happiness without leaving anything, because happiness is not in a place, in a time, in anything. It's everywhere, all the time, within you. So you don't have to leave anything.
To become spiritual, right?
Yeah.
That will bring the happiness, eternal happiness.
Yes.
That's right,
yes,
right?
yes.
So to become spiritual, now if I go to work, I come to work, then I have my boss and I have this and that. I've got all these
responsibilities, etc.
Right. So even if I'm spiritual in the evening, let's say, what I'm asking you is this: that common person like me, how can or how much should I put in do this so that I can achieve my goal at the end of the day? That's what
You always start with small steps. Anything that you do,
right.
yeah. A long journey always begins with the first step.
Mm-hmm.
So I would just say, give 5 minutes a day of. You want to call it God time, you can call it God time, you can call it self time, you can call it time out. I don't know what you want to call it. But start with 5 minutes. And I think 5 minutes are fair. And when it's like, a lot of things in life, we've developed a taste for it. And then we start liking it, and then we start loving it, and then we get hooked on to it, and then we get probably addicted to it, let's say. Similarly, this 5 minutes, if it's a deep experience and it's a really, it hooks you onto it, and then that's it.
So for 5 minutes, you do meditation?
In the present day in America, a lot of people call it mindfulness. That's the nice word. Or just being with your true self. Going into your being, getting connected to who you actually are. These are all different ways that we can, like words that you can use for this sort of a, in India we even have this more greater options available of having a form of God that you can focus on. Or you can take the name of God. You can do japa, or you can do puja. So we have more options that way. So it's basically to connect yourself to something which is deep within you, with your core, with something which is essential, the essence of your life, basically. So
I understand what you're saying, but I'm kind of, I'm not knowledgeable, to be, you know that probably by this time already.
No, I think you're pretty knowledgeable. Okay.
But from my perspective, let's say if I start tonight 5 minutes, right?
Yes.
And I close my eyes, and what do? I think
Wonderful.
about me.
Okay,
fine. Think about me.
Okay.
Which I'm thinking anyway.
Yes. Now, there are many techniques. Okay. So I'm just going to expose you to one technique which you could try.
Okay.
Imagine you're sitting on the bank of a river, and the water just flows. You're not in the river, you're not getting wet. Anyway, you're just sitting on the bank and you're watching the river. So what happens? There might be something, like if you're in India, your basket of flowers goes by or something, everything. So what do? You just look and it just goes away, and it just goes, and you just keep watching, and it's a beautiful experience. Even if you do it, sit on the bank of Ganga, any river for that matter, and just watch. It's a beautiful sight. This is exactly what you're going to do. You could try it tonight. Sit quietly. And you know what's going to happen. The minute you sit, there are going to be so many thoughts happening.
Oh yeah, attacks.
My God, attacks.
Attacks.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
And you are going to sit back and watch the thoughts. Like the river flowing. It's the river of thoughts. And I am watching the river of thoughts. Okay? And I'm not going to push any thought out. I'm not going to want any particular thought. I'm not going to judge any thought. I'm not going to condemn any thought. I'm not going to analyze the thought. I'm not going to try to question the thought. I will not call it good or bad. I will just watch it. Now, that requires stepping back. Because normally you flow with the thought.
Right.
You start thinking that, the thought of, your wife comes and then says, oh, she has to go tomorrow over there and I have to send her there, and maybe, you know, I should pick her up from here, and oh, but what will I have for lunch? And then the lunch goes to maybe McDonald's, or
Right.
it can go anywhere, and then you
Right.
go, you
Right.
might go back to India, you might go to Timbuktu, and God knows where.
Right, right, right.
This is the normal thing that would
Yep,
happen.
exactly.
Right?
Exactly. Yep.
So you have to step back. Each time you start flowing, step back, let it go. It's come, it'll go. And you don't have to push out a thought, because the thought will go out of your mind whether you want it or not. It cannot remain in your mind for more than a fraction of a second. That's the nature of a thought. It comes and goes. So just allow it to go. The minute you do that, even the attack, as you said, it's a nice word. And that's exactly what happens. Okay, boom, so many thoughts. The number of thoughts will reduce straight away if you can just pull yourself back. It's not that the thoughts stop, they won't. For a long, long time, they won't. But if you can just, each time this happens, just pull yourself away. The number of thoughts will reduce, you feel a little peaceful. Yeah? The idea is at a point of time,
Right.
and thoughts just start flowing more easy and reduce till you remain with yourself and nothing else is there. It doesn't happen as easily.
It's not easy. That's what I was going to say.
Exactly, it's not easy,
Yeah.
but the results are there.
Okay.
Yeah? If you believe in a form of God, or if you believe in a concept of God, or if you believe in a particular, like if you say, let's say God is love, then focus on love,
Yeah.
unconditional love. So this is another way you can do
Right,
it, just
right,
unconditional
right,
love,
right.
and love flowing through every. If you believe God is light, okay, light, you know, homogeneous mass of light, which spreads in every corner of the cosmos, you know, unconditionally, you know, pervades and permeates every bit of you. Just pure love, pure light, you know. So there are different ways. Idea is 5 minutes, go to the core of your being.
Yeah, I think, practice probably.
Yeah.
Initially you don't get it, but then next day you might get a
Yeah.
minute of that.
Exactly.
Next day 2 minutes, something like that.
exactly, Yeah.
Right?
Arjuna asked the same question in the Bhagavad Gita. Arjuna said, Bhagwan, you tell me, control your mind or meditate and focus or whatever. He says, you don't know my mind, and everyone thinks their mind is unique actually.
Right.
And everyone's mind is the same. There's only difference in degrees, not in kind. Okay. So, it's stormy. It overwhelms me. It's stubborn. It doesn't listen to me.
Right.
It does what it wants to do.
Right. Yep.
So Arjuna said, Bhagwan, you say this, but it's very impractical. And Bhagwan says, yeah, what you say is true, but abhyasena tu kaunteya vairagyena cha kriyate, through practice, the sheer dint of practice, and through dispassion, through detachment, you will be able to get it. So it's possible. It's not impossible. It's difficult, but not impossible.
Right. Yeah. I mean, we have had guests before, spirituality. We talked on spirituality, and some of them, I think, let's say for example, I'm Jain, so we believe in Bhagwan Mahavir. So just put right here Bhagwan Mahavir in the forehead, and there's focus here, right there. So that's one way of, I was told, to do that.
Yes. Works
So it's
well.
a focusing basically, it's something.
Yeah. So just go to something which is deep within you.
Right. So let's, spirituality is to achieve extreme happiness. Basically, that's the route. But then, there are many religions in the world, Hindu, Sikh, Islam, Christianity, Buddhism, many things. What is the difference between, some people say, okay, well, I'm going to achieve my, nirvana or God or whatever through my religion here. And this person says, I'm going here.
The Sanatana Dharma, the Hindus also believe that there are many paths, okay?
Right.
So, we talk of Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Jnana Yoga. Karma Yoga, yoga basically means to unite, and to unite with God or something which is higher in you through action is called karma yoga. To unite through devotion is called bhakti yoga. Bhakti is devotion, yoga, unite. To unite with through knowledge is called jnana yoga. And to unite with through what is now popularly called yoga is called actually Ashtanga yoga. Through that so there are different paths which is recognized even by the Sanatana Dharma, the Hindus. So I'm sure, like everyone has their own philosophy through which they can connect with something which is higher and deeper and more beautiful, So it's valid. I mean, when the Sanatana Dharma itself has so many different paths. So when Christians say we have our path, we say fine, of course there will be a path. So, I mean, that's fine. It's
So
acceptable thing.
The end, every religion at the end of the day, they want to achieve the same thing. That's what you mean.
Yeah, they want to achieve, but their concept of God could be different. It's possible. Yeah? Because each one has their own idea of what the God is, but they all want to connect to something which is higher and nobler and greater and exalted.
Right.
And so that remains common. Sometimes the concept of God could be different, it's possible. But that they want to achieve something which is noble is common to everyone.
Young people, normally, I interact with a lot of young people, and they don't believe what they cannot see or touch. So God, for them, God, I don't know where God is.
It's so interesting that, see, faith is something which is not needed when you know something. Faith is needed because you don't know it. If you knew it, why would you need faith? Do you have faith that you have a nose on your face? You don't need faith. You know it. It's right there.
Right.
So knowledge is only needed, faith is only needed when you don't know it. So it's very funny when someone says, show me God and then I will believe. If I show you God, then you won't need faith because you already know. You get it?
Right.
So faith is required before knowledge, not after knowledge. So when I say that I don't believe because I don't see, of course, you have to believe to be able to see. If you didn't believe, there's no question of you ever being able to see. You get it? So the question sometimes is a little illogical when they say, show me God and then I believe. If I show you God, you won't need faith. You don't need to believe, you will know it.
So you have to have a faith.
Because faith is required before knowledge, not after knowledge, which is something that's not understood.
So
when I ask this question like, show me God and then I believe in Him.
Right. See, that's the difference, between young people and for example, they have a faith when they see it, when they have a knowledge. It's not faith, knowledge, faith.
Actually, yeah, that's precisely what's not understood. And, for example, if I say, I don't believe in the Einstein's theory of relativity. So someone will ask me, what do you know about it? That you say, I don't believe. And I say, I don't know and I don't believe. So what will a sensible person say? Saying, Swamiji, first know something about it, then you have a right to talk about it. Otherwise you have the right to say, I don't believe. What do you know? You don't know anything and you say, I don't believe. So a lot of times this is exactly what happens. We know nothing and we say, I don't believe. Because in fact, very often, it's so interesting, we make a concept of God. Many times, the word God, in fact, you have an allergy.
Right.
So you forget about God. You talk about the truth. I prefer to use the word truth. So we have our own concepts of that, and we don't believe in our concept of God. We've already made a concept and say, God, if God was there, then this would not have happened. Or if God, you've made your own concept based on your ideas of somewhere, and then you say, I don't believe in that. You made the concept, and now you don't believe in your own concept. You understand? So, if I, like for example, the Einstein theory of relativity, like I know it, I understand it, and then I say, I don't believe, it's not valid, then it's sensible. Now, I make my concept of Einstein's theory, and then I say, I don't believe in it. Then I say, no, get it right, please, first. That's not what he meant anyway. This is what he meant. And then I say, okay, this is it, now I don't believe. Now I have reasons for not believing, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's valid.
Right, right.
Otherwise, I'm just saying something, I make a concept and I don't believe in it. Or show me and I don't, then I'll believe. If I have to show you, then you won't need belief. You already know it.
Right,
So.
right. Okay, so that's okay. Yeah. Another way of thoughts, one of my friend, and I'm going to ask you this, that one of my good friend had a theory that all these religions that how they came into existence, like thousands of years ago, there was nothing like that, no religion, right? There was nothing like that. And that's why when the human being was in pain, they had a pain and they had nowhere to go, or they could not, because religion is basically what it gives you, like kind of relief, kind of like for example, if I have a pain and I believe in God, I say, God, thank you, God, whatever, then it gives me at least mental satisfaction or something like that, right? So religion was basically born based on that theory. What are your thoughts on that?
This all comes with what your concept of God is, basically. That's why I said the concept of God can be different for everyone.
Right.
But that they believe in something which is higher is common to everyone.
Right.
If your God, a concept of, in fact, most people think God is a concept. That's where all this problem comes. Problem, I shouldn't say problem, theories come.
Theories come, right. Yeah.
Concepts can differ. But according to me, God is not a concept. According to Sanatana Dharma, it's not me.
Right.
A concept is finite by its very nature, and it's man-created.
Right.
Any concept, doesn't matter what the concept is.
Right.
God is infinite, and infinity is not a man-created entity.
So that's the
So
difference.
therefore,
Yeah.
when I say that, it's here we have like something saying like, I created God, or I created the concept of God, I created religion, you know?
Right.
So it's like, then it becomes a human concept, a human creation. Whereas infinity is not created, infinity is not a concept,
Right.
infinity is boundless, it's not an entity which is in time and space. So we are created in time and space. Yeah. So God is this, it was there before this so-called creation exists and would exist. Concepts will come and go,
Right.
time and space and objects will come and go, but that infinity, which is the very substratum of all of that, cannot go away. So that's the difference. When you say, I created religion, man created religion, man created God, man created this. So these are all concepts which are created.
Right.
Yeah. So, Sanatana Dharma does not believe that God is a concept of the human mind.
So it's a reality, basically.
It's the reality.
It's a reality.
It's a truth.
It's a truth, ultimate truth.
The ultimate truth.
Right.
Yes.
Now, we talked about different religion, which is a concept created by man, and God is eternal. Basically, it's there. It was there. It will be there, which is perfectly in my mind now, right? So many of these religion, like for example, I'm from Jain religion, right? And there's a Hindus, everybody does this, kind of all these For example, we go to temple. We just bow down. I bow down this way, and somebody bows down that way, and somebody. What is the? I mean, again, it's a man created all this, actions or whatever you call it, and then most of the people, they just blindly follow. They have no knowledge behind what is the significance of each and everything that we do, including me. I do it like when I go to Pratikaman, we have a yearly thing, right? So I just do it because, everybody else does it, similar thing. And I don't know anything, what is the meaning of behind it. So do you, in your mind, that all this different religion creating this, would that achieve spirituality? Because unless you really understand this top portion, whatever you do here, it doesn't matter.
It's a very beautiful question, because I found a lot of people, even amongst the Hindus, who didn't understand what they were doing and why they were doing it.
Right.
So, because this question kept coming to me so often, I decided to write a book called In Indian Culture, Why Do We? And took 20 things that people actually do, and tried to explain that, and became quite popular. Because they were actually doing it. It's not that I was talking about something which is not seen. And like, I'll give an example. Common, in India, we greet each other with a namaste.
Namaste, right.
Why like that and why not like that?
Right. Right.
So why not in any other way?
Right.
We do, we put the dot over here, the kumkum over here, and why not here?
Right.
We do the pradakshina, we go around, circumambulate around the temple, around God. And why clockwise, why not anti-clockwise?
Right.
I mean, these are all things we do. And like, for example, namaste is common not just to India, but it's common to a lot of Eastern countries. And why do they do this? So this concept came out. So I'll just explain to you one thing, and then how these simple gestures, they are so simple, but they have such deep spiritual meaning behind that. That when a kid grows up, it starts with these simple gestures, and then as he grows big, he understands the spiritual content and connects with something which is so beautiful. And then everything in life becomes more meaningful to him.
Right.
So I'll give you this example of the namaste.
Right.
In a very superficial level, it's a greeting between two people
Right.
of Indian origin.
Right.
The other meaning is that more important than two people meeting physically is the meeting of minds. So the thing is, may our minds come together. So often people live together physically, but when their minds are not together, it's a problem, big time problem. So whenever we meet, let our minds come together. So we have a deeper connection, more beautiful connection. But even more deeper than this is the God in you, the God in me. The self in you, the pure self and being in you, and the pure being in me are not two different. They are one. And to that divine self is my namaskara. This is the meaning of it. So when I'm meeting you, now how can I hate you? Because the self in you and the self in me is one. I can't hate you. Because if I hate you, I'm hating my own self.
Right.
Now, if I meet everyone like that, how beautiful would that be? Where would all the chance of all these misunderstandings or wars or all this be there? So in India, a lot of times when people meet together, they even say like Jai Shri Krishna, Jai Ramji ki, Jai Jinendra. Right. So they remember that spiritual core, that pure self, as they meet each other. And then to that is my prostrations, is my namaskar. So it's not just the coming of the hands and then the head going down completes the gesture. So for everything like that, there is such beautiful meaning, you know. It's simple, but it conveys beautiful meaning.
So let's talk about more on this subject, right? So I'm now greedy. Talk about the bindi that in Indian women they do that.
It's not just women who do that, actually. And nowadays it's become where only women do that, but actually even men do that. This is called the Agya Chakra. This is the seat, even if you don't understand the language of chakra, but when you're thinking, like what do you do? Trying to remember. Your gestures go here.
Right.
You can be of any culture, you don't even have to know Indian anything, but you still will do that. And you think too much, what happens? You get a headache here, your frontal lobe is here. So all your thinking and all of that is happening here, right? Yeah. So this part, as we all know, even modern science has discovered that we all emanate certain waves. And these are spots which are heavy, like they really emanate. So this is one such spot. It's called the Agya Chakra.
Okay.
And now, so what we do is that the couple of very deep significances. I would have prayed to God, and from the feet of the Lord I take the kumkum which I have offered. I take that and I put it here. May I remember you through the day in all the activities that I do. May I remember this divine, beautiful feelings that I have right now. And I carry it wherever I go. Now, that you have it on your head, you will forget.
Right.
Because you can't see your head.
Right.
Only until unless you see yourself in a mirror.
Right.
But then when I see it on you, what happens? Again, I remember that thing again. So this is a very, very beautiful, it's a remembrance of divinity that I have right there. Yeah? And this is a pot which, as I said, there's an emanation of energy which comes out from there. Now, whatever is put over there, like bhasmam or chandan or kumkum, it cools this place.
It cools here.
It cools this place. Yeah, makes it, this. So it's a protection also of, you don't lose that beautiful energy which is otherwise getting just this. So it remains, it's a protection, it's a memory of that divine. Very beautiful. And when it's like for a woman who is married and who wears it, it's a sign of her Saubhagyavati. Saubhagyavati, the sign of her, being married.
Right.
And Saubhagyavati word is so beautiful that I am a fortunate person.
Right.
And I have a fortune.
Right.
So all these beautiful significance are there.
So as you just mentioned that, like some people do with bhasma, some people do with different things, chandan. That is all has a similar
and
meaning.
The bhasma has a little extra meaning as well, because we've come from dust, we go back to dust. We've come, so whole body, at the end of the day, a Hindu, even a Jain, we put the body into the fire.
Right, we burn it.
Yeah, we burn it. So it becomes an ash.
It becomes an ash, right.
So the final destination of this body is what?
Ash.
Body, not the soul.
Yes, body.
So the body is going to be that. So it is this anyway, So don't get attached to that body so much. And I remember that finally this is the destination of this body. Not the destination of my soul, but the destination of my body. So this is again a reminder.
Reminder of that.
From there you've come, there will go. The body will go there.
So another thing is like some people do the whole thing.
Yeah.
And some people do just point.
Yeah. Maybe it's
and also significance of putting the rice on top of this.
All
so
of
what
this
is the meaning of that rice? I mean, I know that every time,
we do pujas. So in the puja, akshata is an auspicious offering that we do. So that again, we took that and put it. When we are doing, like we worship a person, so actually many times people don't understand this as well. They think, how can you worship a person?
Right.
So we touch the feet of people when we show respect, right?
Right.
So many times this question comes, why touch the feet? Why not touch the head? So apne page lage, we touch the feet of people.
Right.
Such a beautiful gesture. We stand on our feet. We don't stand on our head. So you could stand on your head. You could do Shirsasana, headstand.
Right.
But for a few minutes, you can't do it forever.
Not normal.
Yeah. So you touch the feet of people because you stand on your feet. So I bow down to the values, the knowledge, the greatness that you stand on. That's the whole idea. So, you know, as I said, every gesture like that
Has a meaning.
has such beautiful meaning. Yeah.
And your book, which says "Why Do We," and that is available anywhere, or?
Oh yeah. With
it is-
Chinmaya Mission Centers, they
Chinmaya
can go on the
Center.
net
Yeah.
and they'll find out how to get it.
And that has a lot of this meaning of what you
20
do.
of that.
20
Yeah.
of
There's
that.
another one also which talks about a lot of misunderstandings happen about the Indian culture. So there's conflicts and confusions in Indian culture. That's
Okay.
the title of the book,
Okay.
where it talks about the most misunderstood caste system. And it talks about rebirth
Right.
and why in India we have so many forms of God. So people don't even understand whether Hindus believe in one God or many gods. They say
Right.
we believe in many gods, which is absolutely untrue. We believe in one God with many forms. So, I mean, something like that is not understood. So there is this book, because, and I kept getting this question all the time from people. So I said, okay, might as well write it in a book, and it's much easier. So it talks about rebirth, which is again the big question, you know, how and why and etc. etc. Talks and why do we Hindus have so many scriptures, and
Right.
why do they have so many masters, and there's
Right.
so all this is answered in that book as well.
So give us some knowledge of the book now. You know, I'm talking about. I'm talking about very briefly. You know, like for example, you mentioned rebirth, right? So you know, like for example, I mean, yes, you know, that's a normal philosophy of Hinduism and Jainism, and you know, we're going to be
Buddhism
born again,
and
and somewhere
all of
different form, whatever life of is 84 million life, you know, different life form. Right now, I'm sitting here. And I don't know what I'm going to be or what I would be or whether it's true or not. So, explain us that rebirth theory.
Okay.
I'm sorry. You know, I mean, in short.
Yes, that's exactly what I'm trying to do. You know, something which I would take longer,
Right.
I make it short.
Right.
After this interview, where will you go?
Go into my office.
Right. The last thought that you have over here will decide where you will go afterwards.
Right.
Right. Now, after you finish your office work, where will you go?
Home.
Exactly. When you go to your home, you want to relax, what will you do?
Probably sit in the bed or watch TV.
Yeah.
A little bit.
I don't think you'll sit in your bed with this dress.
No.
Exactly.
I'll take out the dress. Right.
Yes.
I'll change it.
Exactly.
I'll change it.
So you want to be comfortable in that particular place. You will
Right.
wear a dress appropriate for that place.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You'll take up a form, so to speak, appropriate for the place.
Right.
And you will, if you are, it depends on what you like. You probably like tea or you like coffee or whatever. So whatever you like is what you will do there, right?
Right.
Exactly.
Yep.
Now, if you see human beings, each one comes with their own particular form, their own likes and dislikes.
Right.
In fact, you have two children, and one is like very, very creative. He wants to make everything, and he'll be very patient, and he'll look at everything, and he is always. And the other one wants to take the thing and first throw it away.
Right.
No, you have two kids,
Right.
the same background, the same upbringing. Probably if they are twins, you feed them the same thing. They make them wear the same clothes, and you have two different personalities coming
Right.
out, right?
Right.
So this is something they bring with them. Yeah, where did they get it from? You didn't teach that.
No, right.
They brought it. They have to bring it from somewhere.
Somewhere, right. Yeah.
Somewhere.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So they bring it with them. And you can see, how each one, even though it's, so to speak, the same life that they are leading, they have a different destination.
Right.
Yeah, they fulfill whatever they have to fulfill, different places.
Right.
Yeah. And after having done what they did, some of them will say, okay, I would have loved to be the fag end of their life. So many people say, I wish I had been X, or so depending on what they, as a net result, okay, fine, I'll speak in terms of finance. At the end of the financial year, you make a balance sheet.
Right.
Yeah?
Right, right.
And what do you carry forward to the next year? The final figure is what carries forward to the next. Is it true? It could be profit, loss, it could be whatever.
Right.
That last line, that bottom line is important.
Right.
Because that's what's going to go to the next year.
Yep.
You can't wipe it out and say, no, this is clean. Nothing else. No. Your business, you have to carry forward.
Yes, yes.
You cannot, the tax people won't allow you. No one will allow you to say, okay, this is all wiped out. This is this year, throw it all away. I'll start again. You don't.
Right.
You start. The bottom line becomes your first entry of the next year.
Right.
Exactly. All through lifetimes, we have a bottom line. That bottom line becomes the first entry of that next life. So whatever is your like, dislike, whatever is your papa punya, your good and bad actions, or whatever you've done, whatever are your natural tendencies, is what you carry forward into some lifetime. As and when it fructifies, you have those type of feelings. Because sometimes you see in a human life also, some people really demonic in nature. Some people pretty divine. Some people have, you see some people, they have more affinity towards dogs than they have towards human beings. Don't you see that?
Yep.
And then they, a dog listens to them like that. They call a dog and the dog will do anything for them.
Right.
And they can't get along with any human being. And then, they would be better off, with a particular form.
Right.
So each one fulfills their own karmas through their different forms in different places. So we are born again, because it's not a clean slate. You don't come with a clean slate.
Right. Yeah.
You don't go with a clean slate either.
Right.
Because you can't come out of nothing.
Right.
And by chance, an accident.
Right.
There are some people who remember. I know of a girl who remembered the whole Bhagavad Gita when she was 2.5 years old. She doesn't know how to read. She's not even heard it.
Right.
Now, I cannot remember your childhood experiences, right?
Right.
Because I didn't experience them.
Right.
So the experiencer and the rememberer have to be the same.
Right.
Now, this girl, she's not even read. She's not even heard. And how does she remember it?
Right.
She has to have heard it sometime. In this lifetime, she hasn't, because she's just 2.5 years.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
And she doesn't know how to read, she's not heard it before.
Right, yeah.
Where did it come from?
Where did it come from, right. Yeah.
So, it cannot happen.
Right.
So, this explanation is and forget about, all these explanations. There are people who have experienced their previous lives. Simple as that. Past life regression is no more a thing which is like an unknown thing. Even in the West, you have Brian Weiss talking so much about it, Many Lives, Many Masters, and many other books, and he has sessions all over where people have actually gone into their past lives, seen things happening over there. So that past life regression is also not anymore a thing that no one knows about. So if there is a past life, there's absolutely no logic to say there cannot be a future life.
So the ultimate goal, in Jainism it says 84 million form of life. So you basically Atma is, soul is same, but it transforms into different life. It could be ant or it could be elephant, doesn't matter. Or it could be human being again. So the ultimate goal of spirituality is really get out of this cycle That's the ultimate goal, that you get out of this cycle and achieve something above that. So you don't have to worry about going into. So you basically, you have zero balance at the end of the life.
Exactly.
Is that the ultimate
No,
goal?
you don't really exhaust it one by one and one, because that goes on forever. Because in the process of doing that, you collect so much more. Yeah, you go beyond in a different way, not going through each. You go through. You get to a point which is beyond. You connect yourself with that which is beyond, rather than go through each lifetime and go to that is which is beyond. Like, you don't go through each lifetime, like I've gone through a human life, now I'm going to this life. No, you connect yourself to that which is beyond birth and become birthless, not by going through births.
No, right. No, what I mean is that, human life is the highest form of lives, among 84 million.
No.
And then from here, you have an opportunity to go up.
Yes, that is an opportunity. Human life is, we believe in so many devatas and all also. That's immaterial. But yes, the human life is a life where you can go beyond.
Right.
Shall I explain the concept of beyond a little bit?
Absolutely, yeah. Yes.
This is a watch and you're seeing it. You see it with your eyes.
Right.
Yeah? If your eyes were closed, you wouldn't see it.
Right.
Yeah, so the eyes are the seer and the watch is the seen. There's a distinction between the seer and the seen.
Right.
So two principles: the seer is different from the seen. The seer can see the seen, but the seen cannot see the seer.
No, that's true.
Okay,
Right.
fine. Now, your eyes see the watch. How do you know your eyes see? So your mind knows what your eyes see.
Right.
So the mind is, so to speak, the seer of the eyes.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So the mind knows what the eyes see.
Right.
Your mind is different from your eyes. The seer is different from the seen.
Right.
The seer can see the seen, but
Right.
the seen cannot see the seer.
Right.
Your mind knows what the eyes see,
Right.
but the eyes don't know what the mind thinks,
Right.
and can never.
Right.
Right?
Right. Right.
So, the eyes are beyond the mind, the watch, and the mind is beyond the eyes.
Right.
So you understand the meaning of the word
Yep,
beyond,
yep,
right?
yep.
Now, how do you know that your mind knows? For example, if I ask you the question, do you understand what I'm speaking? You'll say yes.
Yes.
So the understanding is happening where? Here.
Right.
So you say, I know, I understand. Right?
Yes. Yep.
So understanding is here, and I know my mind.
Right. Right.
So the knower knows the known, the seer knows the seen. The seer is different from the seen. The seer knows the seen, but the seen cannot know the seer,
Right.
because the seer is beyond the seen. So there is an entity, I, the pure self, which is beyond the seen, beyond all of this.
Right.
And that is your pure self, which is beyond the mind, beyond the senses, beyond the external world. When you go there, you reach that. You actually go beyond the birth of all this.
Very nice. Very good explanation. I mean, it made sense to me. Let me
I'm
tell you that. With the example,
Yeah,
obviously,
people
it makes
think
sense
it's
to
so
me.
difficult, and it's
Right.
actually not so.
Yeah. Once you explain logically, then it makes sense, right? I mean,
Yeah.
that's how it is basically.
Yes.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you: is there any message that you would like to give it to our community, people who are watching this show? The final message.
All I would say is that life is precious. Human life is very, very, very precious. human life is rare. It's something to be celebrated. It is something to be held very dear.
Right.
It is something to be not wasted in small, petty, immaterial things. So, put in all the important things of your life first. Go into the big, truly beautiful, lovely things of your life. And don't waste your life in small, petty, immaterial, superficial angers, jealousies, egos. It's such a waste of energy and life and time, and your great happiness which is right here, you waste it with all this stuff. So, if you can just focus on that beautiful core within you, I think other things will not be important, and you'll be a happy person. Thank you.
This really reminds me a movie. Obviously, it's called Bawarchi. I'm not sure whether you've seen it or
I've heard of it.
that movie
I think
has
Rajesh
a very
Khanna?
Rajesh Khanna. That has a very good, very simple message, but beautiful message. That basically we forget कि जिंदगी में जो छोटी-छोटी चीजें इतनी हमको bother करती है कि we forget about the bigger concept of love, that we always had it and we will have it.
Yes.
So that small things that you definitely should kind of ignore it. And I mean, it's a beautiful movie. I mean, message is so nice that I just remember based on what
simple. If you want to say it in one word, be good, do good.
Right. Right, yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, they just forget it. You just forget it for a moment of life, and then you just move on.
Absolutely.
But if you remember that, then a lot of problems can be solved.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Hari Om. Namaste.
Thank you so much for joining us today. If you have any questions, comments, you can email me at rajmitv@gmail.com. That's rajmitv@gmail.com. You can watch our prior shows on YouTube at youtube.com/Infosys International. Again, that's youtube.com/Infosys International. Until next time, have a great week.